Hello? Is there anybody out there? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, there's a reason this is called the Hollow Airwaves. It's just empty words flying through the air. So, but that's what I normally do. Everything I say just kind of like goes into the unknown. So, it could reach someone. I do not know who. So, I might as well just start talking. Hello. Welcome to the Hollow Airwaves. Small little place with one resident, me, in the middle of nowhere. In a place that I kind of wish I wouldn't be, but, we can't help that. My name is Chandler. But I go by Chan Chan just because that's what most people call me. It's the easiest thing, and some people call it the cutest thing. Chandler being obviously from Friends. Most people be annoyed by that, like having a character's name be your nickname. It's like, it done for me because I've actually sat through Friends and I say, it's good. Never going to watch it again, but it's good. But it's just, I mostly go by Chan Chan. That's what a lot of people call me by. Call me by. What is your problem? But this is the Hollow Airwaves. And let's just start with some rules. Here in the Hollow Airwaves, we go by Boiling Isles rules. If you've ever seen the Owl House, the Boiling Isles is a place where gender doesn't matter. Sexuality does not matter. Skin color does not matter. The only thing that matters is how good of a person you are. I have a lot of people who could tell you that. Incredibly loud, incredibly, talkative. But for some reason, some people said, they like to hear me talk, and I say, I think you're more insane than I am. So, yes, my name is Chandler. People call me Chan Chan. Before I started the Hollow Airwaves, all I did was talk to myself like a crazy person in my room. So I might as well have said, might as well record it and get it out there. Maybe someone will listen. Highly doubt it. It is called the Hollow Airwaves. So, welcome to the Hollow Airwaves if you actually are listening. This is one of those cases where it's a person would introduce themselves, but I kind of don't really know how to do that. Because I'm not really the kind of person who likes labels. I could tell you a lot about me. There is a decent amount of stuff about me that I could say, but I mean, it's important to me, but it doesn't define me. So I'll just give you a little bit of a backstory when it comes to labels. A couple years back, near the end of the first year of the pandemic, my brother and my other brother's girlfriend were driving to, my other brother's place so we can get some pictures done for my mom and grandma. At this nice neighborhood, nice park and everything like that. But on our way back, we were just talking about labels and everything like that. And I brought up as I saying I really don't like being called a film buff. And they say, but Chandler, you are a film buff. And I was like, yeah, but I mean I kind of have no reasoning for saying oh, I don't like being called a film buff, because it's I do watch a lot of movies. In that first year of the pandemic, I watched over 300 films. New films that I've never seen before. That doesn't even count the films that I did rewatch. I do have over 400 movies, and during that time, I rewatched a lot of... Obviously, my shelf has grown since then, but yeah, I kind of was just glued to the screen throughout it. And I kind of regret that. I'm trying to learn Spanish now, which is saying you should have been doing that when you were closed off, you know what I mean? So, I guess that's a good place to start. When it comes to, getting to know people, there are some things where I say, I kind of can't put into words. But I say there are some shows and movies where I say, relating to, a show, I do hate it when people, always do that. But we all have that one show or movie that can fully tell you who a person is. You know what I mean? And I mean, there is, so all I could say, when it comes to me, and how I view the world and see things, obviously I've already said the Boiling Isles. The Owl House is that perfect example. I think everything that show has to say is what I believe. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wish Earth was like the Boiling Isles, where things like sexuality, skin color, and gender just don't matter. It's only if a person is good or evil. But unfortunately, people have a weird judgment of what is good and what is evil in this country alone. But in the world, it's just like, oh yeah. But also say Cowboy Bebop, Lilo and Stitch, and this is one that's probably going to throw some people off. The Melancholia Haruhi Suzumiya. That one could take a little bit of time to decipher, but I wouldn't think too much about it because this is me we're talking about. Who cares? But those are like some of the things where I say, like, get a lot of my ideals. It's not that I got my ideals from it, but I mean, like, it is saying things that I firmly believe. And it's very rare. I've seen a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows, even video games, books, and I just say, like, very few have been able to, like, fully connect to how I feel on the inside. Both in the good and in the bad. So yeah, I guess all we could do is, like, start with film, I guess, because that's what my brother and sister-in-law have said. Like, I am a film buff. Yes, I am a film buff. I love talking about movies to so much of a degree that my brother has actually, like, yelled at me, like, once or twice about, like, you need to stop. You need to stop. And it's just like, movies are how I always connected to things. Ever since I was a kid, like, whenever I didn't have any friends, movies were always there for me. That may sound sad, but it's just like, they helped me through. And that's what I was saying about the quarantine. When I was at my worst, my, like, most depressed, movies were there for me. It was the friend that I didn't have at the time. My collection over here, I have over 400 movies. Everything from, like, Winnie the Pooh to Ponyo, even to, like, the Hey Arnold Jungle movie, all the way to Hereditary, Mad God, Antichrist, where it's just like, yeah, like, if I have a niece or a nephew, which I don't, and I wish I did, I want to be an aunt, but you can't rush these things. I do have movies that say if they wanted to watch it, they could watch it. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, like, I would have to make sure they're not watching, like, things like Hereditary, because I mean, like, my brother and especially his girlfriend they would murder me for letting them watch something like Perfect Blue, and I just say, like, but I would keep an eye on them, you know. In fact, like, all the movies I have the same. Really, you got Winnie the Pooh? It's like, yeah, I got Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is one of those movies, both the original one from the 70s and the one they had in 2011, I think, which was like the last hand-drawn film that Disney released theatrically. I think even in just a long-ass time. Those are movies I could put on. If I'm ever stressed out or worried, I could just put them on. It's like, it can relax me because they're so just down to earth and just fun and sweet and charming. And I say the same about if you've ever seen the Netflix Japanese film, Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop. That is an amazing movie that I think people need to see. It's a perfect movie about, like, insecurities and social anxiety. I just watched the movie. I was just like, I am so chill right now. Which is funny. There's another movie that kind of chills me out. And this is a weird one. Fantastic Planet, which is a French animated film. It's on Criterion. I'm sure you can find it on HBO Max right now because they got a lot of Criterion movies on there. That is a movie that is so weird and so bizarre, and so disturbing too. But for some reason, its atmosphere is just so chill, where I am just like, this is so weird, but I'm calm. Anyway, back to, like, Winnie the Pooh and all that. It's like, yes, I do have stuff like Winnie the Pooh. I think they're great and charming. And actually, as someone who's read the original book, I say, of all the things, like, Disney's been screwing up and everything like that, and Disney's known for taking creative liberties, even in some of their best films like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and Aladdin. Those do have, like, some creative liberties, but emphasis on creative. Obviously, these days with all the remakes, they're not being too creative, and anything creative they do have, the Owl House, they treat like shit. And I just wish they wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? It's funny, like, they wouldn't even plan out the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and don't tell me they did. Like, that they clearly did not plan it out. But here is Dana Terrace with, like, I have this plan for the series. It's all laid out. and yet they still give her the shaft. It's just like, that company is so backwards, you know? But anyway, when it comes to my movie collection and everything, I have just something of all kinds, you know, and I think some people say it's weird that I have like things like Winnie the Pooh to Hereditary. It's like saying like, these are movies that I can probably watch over and over again and never get tired of them. That being said, I did get Thor Love and Thunder, and just because it was Taika Waititi, you know what I mean? I not only like love his films, I love him. I can tell y'all a secret. I mean, it's not really a secret. I'm sure a lot of people I know, but it's just like, I have a crush on Taika Waititi. He's so charming and so, handsome. But his film, this is a film where it's just like, he clearly didn't want to make this. He just wanted to make the first one, but his contract says, oh, you got to make 2. It's like, fine, I'll make a second one, but I'm not going to put my all into it. And clearly he tried to make the stupidest film ever. It's basically like Freddy Got Fingered. The person making the movie didn't want to make it, Tom Green. But the studio says, you have to make it. And he's like, fine, I'll make it. I'll do it. And made just something so insane and arguably unfunny. But the thing about Freddy Got Fingered is that it is funny for how bad and stupid it is. Since his delivery is just like, he clearly doesn't give a crap. But I mean, like, it's fun, you know? Hilariously hostile. But, for Thor Love and Thunder, I'm really thinking about taking that off my shelf and, I don't know, selling it or something like that. Does anyone want it? I don't think anyone wants it. I think we all, even Taika Waititi, if I met him as like, here's Thor Love and Thunder, it's like, you think I want this shit? I don't want this shit. And I'd say like, I knew you would say that. I knew you would say that. You single? No, he's not single, is he? He's dating some Rita, or who is that? I don't care. It's not me. So, they say you could tell a lot about a person by their favorite movies. As I just said, like, I named some examples of some shows and movies that I say, like, it's kind of like can't really describe, like, how I feel, but these shows perfectly capture how I, like, not just how I am, but who I am. How I am, that probably doesn't make any sense. But The Owl House is that perfect example. It's just, like, if you've seen the show, LGBT-wise, that's, I guess, part of it, but it's the bigger thing of what the show entirely is trying to say. It's just, but that's the thing here in the Hollow Airwaves, I'm just, like, kind of just pulling stuff out of my ass of things to talk about, because it's, like, it's better that than talking to myself and it falling on deaf ears. But that being said, this is probably falling on deaf ears. I don't even think, like, family member who supports me or cares about me would even want to listen to this. And I don't blame them. I mean, editing this video, I've edited a lot of videos of like my commentary and everything over the years. I do not like my voice. I do not like my voice. As you can tell, I kind of got a little bit of a lisp. Funny how it's kind of feminine. I've always gotten that. But here's the thing. It worked out because this happened about 2 or 3 times. I went to get fast food, and I was like saying, yeah, can I get this, that, this, and this? And they're like, all right, pull up to the front, ma'am. And then I pulled up, and they saw, like, there was this, with facial hair and faux hawk, spiked hair, just like, and they were like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. And I was like, no, you get it. It's my parents who don't see it yet. And, yeah, things have obviously changed with me since then, but it's like, you see, like, it was always there. The feminine thing was always there, but it's just like, I still don't like my voice. And I think that's the case with a lot of people. They just don't like their voice. I mean, you see, like, there's a bunch of movie stars, like Johnny Depp says, like, I don't like watching myself. I don't like watching myself. And some people think that's a weird concept, and I say, like, well, here's the thing. I am not famous. Don't really want to be famous. Fame is a horrible thing, but that is a case where I say, like, some people just don't like watching themselves. I don't like looking at pictures of myself. Heck, when I look in the mirror every morning, I spit at my reflection. So it's just, I don't actually do that, but it's just like, you could be prettier, but you could be uglier too. But I guess you could say I am a film buff. I hate calling myself that, but that is probably what I will mostly be talking about here. So if you don't want to hear that, click off. There's the door. That is the X button, and go watch, like, I don't know, Oni Plays or something like that. I don't blame you for that. Those guys have been, like, Oni and G's been one of my, like, biggest, he's been the few, like, people on YouTube I've actually, or on the internet in general, that I continue to admire and respect. Because not only is he a multi-talented, like, animator, musician. He's even working on a video game. He just seems like a genuinely nice guy. Like a genuinely sweet, respectful guy. And I just see so many of these people that I did feel that way about when I was younger, and it's just they turned out to be, either they were always jackasses or they became the jackass, you know what I mean? So it's just the fame went to their head and they think like, oh, it's kind of driven them insane in the most unlikable way possible. That being said, I do call myself somewhat of a critic. You know, they say everyone's a critic, and my dad says, like, Chandler, there's a difference between you and me. I like watching movies for entertainment, but you like to analyze and critique movies. And I was just like, yes, but I mean, like, that's not really like something I want to do. It's just something that if you watch enough movies or TV shows, you start to see the cliches and what works and what doesn't, what's different and what's old. I like to be entertained. That's what I was saying about the Detective Pikachu movie. I was saying, like, and I loved Pokemon as a kid, but I was saying, like, this movie doesn't look good, but it looks fun. It was boring. And yes, this is the kind of movie I've been wanting ever since I was a kid, like a live-action Pokemon movie, and I was just like, I am bored out of my mind. This is one of the most predictable movies I've ever seen. But it's a case where I say completely unbiased here, and I'm respectful of other people's opinions. It's like, if you like a movie that I do not like. A recent one is, this is a good example. I got Paramount Plus, and I finally got around to watching Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I thought the first one was just okay, and I just heard countless people say, oh, it's better than the first one. It's better than the first one. And I was like, well, seems like fun, and hopefully it is. That movie fucking sucked. I was so, like, annoyed with it. The only good things I liked about it were Jim Carrey and Idris Elba as Knuckles. I did also like that they got, I forget her name. Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who's been voicing Tails for a while, and they actually got her back to play Tails. How often do you really see that voice actors actually get, and even like in the poster, you see like in the billing at the top of the poster, it's like her name's up there. How often do you really see that? Even on the first Sonic the Hedgehog poster, it said James Marsden and Jim Carrey. And the poster showed Sonic and Eggman. What is that? What do you think people are going to think? Oh, James Marsden plays Sonic the Hedgehog? No, that's Ben Schwartz. Then who the hell does James Marsden play? Just some guy, some boring-ass character. So it's like, and I could critique about like movie posters for a long time, but this is more of a case of, and it's the same with the Loki show, where they had Tara Strong play Miss Minutes. And in the first episode, and like ending like nice credit sequence where it shows this name, that name, and Tara Strong was among the headlining names, not just in the credit roll sequence. And I was just like, that's awesome that they credit. I knew it was her when I heard the voice. I was like, that's Tara Strong. That's really cool. But then in the credits, like, they actually put her with like the big stars. That's amazing. That's great. She deserves that. She absolutely deserves that. But anyway, that's the only thing I liked about Sonic 2. I could not stand that movie, like, at all. Like, I did finish it because I'm a masochist. I would say I do like watching bad movies. As I say, I like watching Freddy Got Fingered, but at least that movie's entertainingly bad. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was torture. That's such a first world problem to say, oh, watching a movie is torture when there's literally people being tortured in the world. But it's just, God, like, I hated the human characters in the first one, and I like James Marsden. I've seen Tika Sumpter in, like, I think that's her name. I have seen her in a good amount of stuff, but I'm so sorry for mispronouncing her name. But it's like, they were just so boring in the first one, and, like, every time it cut to them in Hawaii, I was just like, I don't give a fuck about any of this shit going on here in Hawaii. There's even now this is the part that really pissed me off. I was actually screaming at my TV screen. That shows my mental stability, doesn't it? But, that doesn't happen often, where I'm screaming at my TV. The last time I think I did that was with the movie Earwig and the Witch, where it's like that, like, I got halfway through that movie, I was like, I don't even know what this movie's about. What is your goal? What is your point? I was just screaming at it. I was just like, fucking do something! But in this one, it's like, there's this 6-minute sequence of Tika Sumpter and her friend in the movie, just like taking out guards and everything so they could get revenge for the bride, who's the groom was a secret spy, and they just used this whole wedding thing as a thing to capture Sonic. And I was just like, what is this, a fucking Tyler Perry movie? What is this, a fucking Tyler Perry movie? This is so unfunny. It's out of nowhere. And then when it get like a certain quote unquote sweet dramatic moment, it was laughably bad. And I didn't even laugh. I was just annoyed. But the problem is, and some people are going to say like, listen to this like person like complain about Sonic the Hedgehog, which is a kid's movie. And I just say like, well, let's think about the kids. Let's think about the kids. In that 6 minutes, do you really think a kid's going to give any shits about what is going on with the wedding thing? No, absolutely not. I'm sure there's been a lot of kids saying like, where's Sonic? Where's Sonic at? Is he somewhere else? And it's just like, I'm with you, kid. You know, I'm not even the biggest Sonic fan. I mean, like, I played the games growing up, but I was just saying, like, is this even a Sonic movie anymore? Who gives a damn about this wedding? It kind of led nowhere, really. Oh, God. Hated it. I give it a 2 out of 10. The only reason I give it that extra point and not a 1 out of 10 is because Jim Carrey, most of the time in the movie, was actually very funny. And Idris Elba was a big surprise, because I was, like, saying, like, oh, there we go, casting a big name as a character again. They should have just done the same with like what they did with Tails, you know. But no, he actually did a good job. He worked. My biggest sadness about the movie is like I've been ever since I was a kid a big Jim Carrey fan. I'm practically like Josh from Close Enough, R.I.P. Close Enough, where it's just like, apparently he's been saying he is retiring from acting. He has grown very sick of the Hollywood system, as I think a lot of people are, and this is just an outsider looking in, but even I say, that's a shit place from all we've heard, but there's people who've actually experienced that. Like, you look at what happened with, like, Brendan Fraser and everything like that, oh my gosh, it's so heartbreaking. I didn't even know that until, like, they were promoting The Whale. He was, like, sexually harassed and everything like that. That's terrible. And I grew up with that guy's work and saying, like, where has he been? I've been saying that for years, like, where has he been? And then finally he has a movie coming out, and I was excited about it, and I think he deserved that Oscar. I think he deserved the Oscar. I don't give a shit about the Oscars, but I say it's always nice when the correct is given. Sorry, me brain no work. They give credit where credit is due. There we go. Good. Pat yourself on the back, Chandler. You're not as stupid as you think you are. But yeah, Jim Carrey is apparently, like, grown very sick and tired of the system. And he's planning on retiring. And I say, like, well, my advice, he says, like, he'll only come back if there's a script that's, like, written in gold ink. Like, it's the perfect script and everything like that. And all I say is, like, God, I hope so. Holy Titan, I hope so. Because guess what? If you don't do another movie, your final film's going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You really don't want that. You don't want that. I wouldn't want that. And as a fan of yours, I don't want that to happen to you. It's like a band ending their discography on a crap album, you know? Let me think of a band that ended on a crap album. I think I can name one. I can't really name one. So, when I got done with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I was just like, I need to clean my palate. What can I watch? So I watched Police Story and Police Story 2. Starring, directed, and co-written by Jackie Chan. All the way back to Jackie Chan. Like, I grew up watching his movies and everything, and I like Don Bluth. I didn't grow up with the magnum opus. Don Bluth is, like I said, like, I've seen all of his films except for his best film. I didn't see that until college, which was The Secret of Nim. So, but this is the case with Jackie Chan. It's like, Police Story was a blast. If you've never seen it, you should check it out. I'm looking into getting it on Criterion right now because they got Police Story 1 and 2 double feature. And I said, oh yeah, I would love to double feature these two movies. And I hear there's a third one, but it's not directed by Jackie Chan. I think it's just like, he's just starring in it. It's like, so it's probably not as good, you know. I mean, not everything is Blade Runner, you know, where it's like Ridley Scott did Blade Runner, but then like years later they had Blade Runner 2049 and by Denis Villeneuve, and not gonna lie, it's better than the first Blade Runner. The first Blade Runner is fine, but I don't love it like everyone else. But Blade Runner 2049, that movie is incredible. I saw that in theaters and I was blown away. It's just unfortunate when good movies just when they don't do as well, you know what I mean? Like, I say, like, they deserve much more, you know what I mean? They probably don't need $1 billion, but I mean, like, it's nice to know people are seeing it. I went to go see Beau is Afraid because I love Ari Aster. I loved Hereditary, Midsommar, and when he first announced this movie, he says, like, I'm working on a 4-hour-long nightmare comedy starring Joaquin Phoenix. I was like, Oh, I'm so in. I am so in. It was called Disappointment Boulevard, but they changed it to Beau is Afraid. And very divisive movie, and I say I loved it. I absolutely love it. I think at this point I give it an 8 out of 10, but I'm sure when I watch it again, it'll probably go up to a 9. I still love Hereditary more, but it is like apples and oranges. But I do like one more than the other. But hey, that doesn't mean I like apples any like that much less. It's just I prefer an orange. It's always sad. I go to the movies a lot. I'm planning on going to see the new Guardians movie sometime next week. I want to rewatch the movie. Well, here's the thing about that. I not only want to rewatch Guardians 1 and 2, I want to rewatch Infinity War because, in my opinion, that is the best MCU movie. I would say personal favorite is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. That is, in my opinion, a borderline perfect movie. But Infinity War, I say, like, that movie is an achievement, that everything just felt so organized, and all these stories just blend so well together. You know, I was interested every step of the way. In Endgame, there's some of, like, like, when they were all splitting up, doing their own things from the previous movies. Some of it, I still have a hard time remembering, you know? But, I mean, like, Infinity War, I'm remembering the stuff with Thor and the Guardians, and Doctor Strange and Tony Stark and Peter Parker. You know, that's the thing about the MCU. There's very few of these movies where I'm like, I rewatched them after Endgame came out because I had them all, and some of them like just do not hold up very well. I rewatched. Here's a funny story. When I saw Doctor Strange, like, I rewatched it. I had it on Blu-ray, and I finally got around to rewatching it, and I was, like, halfway through the movie, I was just like, oh, crap, I got, like, another hour left of this? I wasn't enjoying it. It was very, very dull and boring. And then it clicked in my head. It clicked in my head where I was just like, wait a minute. This is exactly how I felt when I saw it in theaters. I totally forgot that I fell asleep when I first saw it. So, yeah, not the best movie. Doctor Strange isn't exactly the best character. That being said, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse is actually really fun. I like that movie, so it shows like he can have his own movie, but it just didn't work in that first Doctor Strange movie. Probably just because Sam Raimi's such a crazy director. He works better with a cast, though, an ensemble cast. And I think even Benedict Cumberbatch was like saying like, it's really hard to make this character interesting. It's very hard. So, and I say they could have just skipped doing the movie and just introduced him in. I agree with Jay Bauman from Red Letter Media, where he was like saying like they could have just done him in Thor Ragnarok like they did. And it's like, oh hey, it's Doctor Strange. They didn't need to do a movie based on the character because it just was not interesting. I did not care. It's a movie where I still forget. I think I remember what most people remember. It's like I've come to settle a debt or something like that. Like, and he kept getting killed and coming back. Yeah, it's a funny scene, but it's not like that. One scene isn't going to save a movie, you know? So it's just, I was talking about Taika Waititi and how much I absolutely adore that guy. That's another thing I'm really excited about. It's, he is now in charge of directing the graphic novel written by Alejandro Jodorowsky, who did The Holy Mountain, which is probably the craziest movie I've ever seen, but it's once again, it's creatively brilliant. It's insane. I guess the word creatively insane. He's in charge of directing the graphic novel, which I've been meaning to read, because apparently like that graphic novel is every idea he wanted to do for the Dune movie he could not make. And I say like, that's awesome, because I hate it when a movie is in the works and it just doesn't come through. They say like the Dune, Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune is, I seen the documentary, like the greatest movie that was never made. Yes, I would have loved to see it, even though it's it was planned to be like a 13-hour-long psychedelic film directed and written by a guy who hasn't even read the book. I saw like the documentary says like, I want to direct Dune. It's like, have you read it? It's like, no, I haven't read it, but I hear it's really good. It's like, you should probably freaking read it. But that's the thing about Denis Villeneuve when he did this new Dune movie, and part 2's coming out soon. He said like, I have read this book like frontwards and backwards. He knows it inside and out. And I say, no, that is the person you should get to like make an adaptation. Cause that's another thing that really irks me. But I'm excited for Taika Waititi taking over for directing the Inkles. I think that's what it's called. Because it's like, I do want to read the graphic novel as well, because it's just like, I am interested in that movie, you know, that it's an interesting story. If you've never seen Jodorowsky's Dune, you should check out the documentary. It's extremely interesting. And the man himself is such an interesting character. He is absolutely insane. Just watching his movie, he's insane. It's saying, like, you just see, like, I'm sure a lot of people think, like, just this quiet, poised person, you know, just smoking a cigarette, just quiet. It's like, no, he's clearly a person who's enthusiastic about art. You know what I mean? About making movies. It's not like, yeah, it's something I do. It's just like you could see the passion just radiate out of him. But he says, like, I'm too old to be making this movie, so I'm passing it on to a younger, more ambitious director. You know, or just as ambitious director. And that is Taika Waititi. So incredible. If anything, I think he was like, I want him because Thor Ragnarok was kind of like, seemed like that's everything he wanted, like, was very much inspired by the Inkles. So, we will see, you know? Hopefully it'll be better than Thor Love and Thunder, because, you know, I'm sure it will, because I don't hate Thor Love and Thunder like most people do, but I do say it's not good. I'd probably give it, like, maybe a 4 out of 10. So, yeah. Why am I still here? Are people actually going to listen to this? I doubt it. This is episode 1 of the Hollow Airwaves. And, yep, I'm sure, like, the signal is going nowhere. But yeah, I think that's a sign of me wrapping things up. If you have made it to the end, congratulations. You need psychological help, because I'm going to have to edit this, and my voice drives me insane. So, until next time, if there is a next time, I will see y'all later, and bye.